The MajesTEC-1 study was for patients with relapsed and refractory myeloma who have been exposed to a proteasome inhibitor, an immunomodulatory agent, and a CD38 monoclonal antibody. What we're presenting is the updated results of the phase 1 study using the dose at the recommended phase 2 dose from the part 1 and the cohort expansion at part 2. 95 patients were pooled into this study and were treated with Teclistamab with 2 initial step-up doses followed by the maximum recommended phase 2 dose. Patients received treatment until disease progression or intolerance. Overall, we're reporting a response rate of 62%, and importantly, there were very high VGPR and CR rates. Now, this is quite a remarkable response rate for patients who'd had a median of 6 prior lines. The majority of these patients were triple-class refractory, and there was a significant proportion of patients who were also penta-refractory. So this is quite a heavily pretreated population. In terms of the adverse event profile, there was some hematological toxicity with neutropenia occurring as well as thrombocytopenia, but this was typically low grade and was manageable with supportive care. The main non-hematological toxicity is cytokine release syndrome, as you would expect with a bispecific T-cell engager antibody. The majority of cases with cytokine release syndrome were grade 1 and 2. There was only one grade 3 event which was fully reversible. All these events were either spontaneously resolved or were managed with tocilizumab or with corticosteroids. In terms of neurotoxicity or ICANS, the most commonly reported event was a headache, and no severe ICANS was observed. The data is still fairly immature, so we don't have a durability of response, progression-free survival, or overall survival as yet. But when you look at the swim lane plot of each individual patient as they go on, what becomes apparent is that the responses deepen as time goes on. So overall, this is the pivotal phase 1/2 clinical trial of Teclistamab, which is a bispecific T-cell engager targeting CD3 and BCMA for patients with relapsed refractory multiple myeloma. The response rate is over 60%. The adverse event profile is quite manageable and appears to be quite safe, and we're hoping that these will produce some quite durable responses.